Hey guys, today we dive into how dedicating just one intentional hour can transform your life in ways you never imagined. You find yourself sitting at your desk, phone in hand, notifications buzzing nonstop? Reality check. Those pings aren't moving you forward, they're holding you back. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, drop your current location and local time in the comments so we can see who's tuning in from where. Now open phone screen. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into today's journey together. You stare at the clock as it ticks into your day, the same hours that everyone else wastes on autopilot. But what if you could seize just one of those hours and use it with laser focus? Imagine what 60 minutes of undistracted, purposeful effort could do. That's right, 60 minutes. It's neither a marathon nor an extreme commitment. It's a single hour, just 4% of your entire day. In that hour, you hold the power to rewrite patterns, to build habits, to spark growth. You decide, this is my hour, and I refuse to let it slip through mindless scrolling or half-hearted multitasking. First, pick your hour. Maybe it's early morning, before the world stirs and excuses have a chance to wake up. Maybe it's after lunch, when energy usually dips, but clarity can shine. Or perhaps it's late evening, when tasks are done and interruptions are minimal. The key is consistency. Choose the same block each day so your mind and the people around you learns to respect it. Block it in your calendar. Treat it like a non-negotiable meeting with your most important client, yourself. Now, eliminate distractions. Silence your phone. Close unrelated browser tabs. Let others know you're unavailable. You're creating a protected environment where your attention can thrive. This hour isn't for random tasks or shallow entertainment. It's for the one thing that matters most to your growth. It could be writing a chapter of your book, learning a new skill, strategizing your business plan, or reflecting on goals. Whatever activity advances you toward your highest aspiration. As the hour begins, you'll feel the pull of old habits. Your mind will wander. You'll remember that social media notification or unfinished email. That's natural. Your brain resists focus because focus means change. Each time you catch yourself drifting, gently guide your thoughts back to the task. Celebrate these small course corrections. They're proof your mental muscle is getting stronger. With every minute reclaimed, you build resilience against distraction. Use a simple timer. No shame in the buzzer. It marks progress and maintains urgency. Break the hour into manageable segments if helpful. 25 minutes fully immersed, a 5-minute break. Then another 25-minute sprint, plus final 5-minute review. This Pomodoro-style structure guards against fatigue and heightens productivity. Adapt at the intervals to your rhythm, but keep the principle. Focused work. Brief rest. Refocus. During your focused time, lean into discomfort. Growth rarely feels comfortable at first. You may wrestle with uncertainty or boredom. You might hit a creative block. That's when discipline shows its power. Push through the resistance rather than escape into easier distractions. Remind yourself that the hour is small but mighty. In a single session, you can solve problems that have nagged you for days. Learn concepts that expand your perspective, or lay a foundation for habits that last a lifetime. After the hour, pause for a brief reflection. What progress did you make? What challenges surfaced? Jot down 2 quick notes, 1 victory and 1 improvement area. This moment of review cements learning and preps your brain for the next session. Then, move on with your day knowing you've invested in yourself, not just reacted to others' demands. Over a week, that's 7 hours of deliberate growth, more than a half-work day spent on self-improvement. In a month, you accumulate 30 hours. In 6 months, 180 hours. In a year, 365 hours. These hours compound. One skill builds on another. One insight enhances the next, and momentum accelerates your results. To compare that to the hours lost scrolling, doom scrolling headlines, or watching random videos, you become the exception in a world addicted to distraction. This practice isn't about perfection. Some days you'll struggle to concentrate. Some sessions may feel less productive. That's okay. The goal isn't to avoid distractions altogether, but to strengthen your ability to redirect. Each redirection is a rep for your attention muscle. Over time, you'll notice your mind stays on task longer and deeper. You'll fight less for focus because you've built an environment and a routine that supports it. Beyond tasks, this hour reshapes your identity. When you guard and honor it, you send a powerful message to yourself. I am worth this time. My goals are worth defending. Self-trust then grows as you keep promises to yourself. That trust permeates other areas, your relationships, your work, your health. You become someone who follows through, not someone who breaks commitments at the first sign of discomfort. As you continue, adjust and refine. Experiment with morning versus evening sessions. Test different activities: writing, coding, drawing, strategizing. Notice which tasks ignite your energy and deliver tangible progress. Double down on those. Rotate less impactful tasks to once a week. This feedback loop ensures your hour stays aligned with your evolving priorities. Eventually, this 1 hour habit becomes automatic. Your brain, like a loyal partner, knows when the time arrives. Daily life or external crises may threaten to usurp it, but you defend it because you've experienced its power. And when you miss a day, because life happens, you don't beat yourself up. You recommit the next opportunity. The cadence of return, not punishment, builds resilience. In essence, Section 1 lays the groundwork. Choose, protect, apply, and review in a one-focused hour each day. This singular habit is the spark that ignites discipline, clarity, progress, and confidence. As you guard that hour, you're cultivating the most transformative resource, your unwavering commitment to personal growth. You've heard it time and again. Success starts with your morning. But how many of us actually live by this? How many times have you hit snooze, allowing your bed to claim the first hour of your day, only to regret it when the chaos of the day begins? That groggy feeling, the scramble to get out the door, the constant rush. This isn't the way it's supposed to be. But here's the reality. It doesn't have to be this way. What if you could take back those first moments and turn them into something that sets the tone for the rest of your day? What if your mornings were the catalyst for a powerful, purposeful day? One that leaves you feeling accomplished, energized, and in control. Well, that's exactly what we're going to explore in this section. How to take back your mornings and start your day with ownership, intention, and power. Let's start by discussing the first choice you make each day: getting out of bed. Sounds simple enough, right? But this seemingly small act sets the foundation for everything else that follows. Every time you hit snooze, you're not just giving up a few minutes of sleep, you're also surrendering control. That little button is a reminder that something else, your habit, your comfort, or your reluctance, is dictating your day. But think about this. When you decide to wake up immediately, when you choose to rise on your own terms, you reclaim control. You've just made your first powerful decision of the day. It doesn't matter if it's early or late. It's about the commitment to taking action. That's your first victory. Getting up, no matter how comfortable the bed feels, and saying to yourself, "Today is mine." Have you ever noticed how the way you start your day affects everything that follows? If you wake up rushed and behind schedule, the rest of your day often feels like a series of scrambling, reactive moments. You're constantly playing catch-up, always a step behind. But if you start with a clear plan, with purpose and focus, you're much more likely to stay on track. Your day takes on a completely different energy. This isn't just anecdotal, there's science behind it. Research shows that our brains are most receptive to new information and task setting in the morning. The early hours are when your energy and focus are at their peak, making it the perfect time to tackle the most important tasks of your day. When you wake up with intention, you set your brain into a mode of focused action. You go from reacting to your environment to leading your day. Think about it. In those early moments, when the world is still quiet and free from distractions, you have the chance to shape your entire day. If you start with purpose, you'll carry that momentum into the hours that follow. So, how can you start turning your mornings into something powerful? The key is a morning routine, one that is simple but effective. A routine doesn't have to be long or complicated, but it does need to have purpose. A good routine sets the tone for your mindset, energy, and productivity throughout the day. Start by deciding on 1 or 2 activities that will help you feel energized and clear-headed. This could be as simple as stretching, writing in a gratitude journal, or reading a few pages of a book. The goal is to create a ritual that you look forward to and that leaves you feeling ready to take on the world. For example, imagine waking up at 6 a.m. The moment your alarm rings, you resist the urge to snooze. Instead, you rise, stretch, and spend 5 minutes reflecting on what you're grateful for. You take a few deep breaths, making space for calm and clarity. Then, you spend the next 10 minutes reading a chapter of a motivational book that primes your mind for the day ahead. Finally, you wrap it up with a quick, energizing workout. Nothing intense, just enough to get your blood flowing. This routine is simple, but it can have a profound impact. By taking control of those first minutes, you've already won the day. You're not scrambling to keep up with the clock. You're moving with intention. Let's be honest. Getting out of bed isn't always easy. You may not feel like getting up at first, especially when your bed feels so warm and inviting. But this is where your discipline kicks in. The snooze button is a trap. It feels good in the moment, but it creates a ripple effect that negatively impacts your entire morning. The more you hit snooze, the harder it becomes to break the cycle. So, what can you do? The answer lies in breaking that first impulse, the moment the alarm goes off. Don't give yourself a chance to hit snooze. You've already made the decision to rise, so get up immediately. Don't wait for motivation to show up because it won't. It's something you create through action. The secret is in the consistency of making the right decision at the start of your day. If you consistently get up when the alarm rings, you'll begin to rewire your brain. You'll start feeling less groggy and more energized, knowing that you took control from the very first moment. It's also important to remember that there will be days when it's harder than others to wake up early. And that's okay. If you miss a morning or struggle to get out of bed, don't beat yourself up. It's all part of the process. What matters is that you get back on track the next day. The more you build this habit, the easier it will become. When you take charge of your mornings, you're not just improving your routine, you're improving your life. The confidence you build in those early moments spreads to other areas of your day. When you start your day with clarity, energy, and purpose, you're far more likely to maintain that mindset throughout the rest of the day. Moreover, a consistent morning routine creates space for everything that follows. It gives you the mental clarity to make better decisions, prioritize your tasks, and handle any challenges that come your way. You begin the day already ahead of the game, which makes it easier to stay productive and avoid distractions. You stop feeling overwhelmed by everything you have to do because you've already carved out time for the things that truly matter. But what happens when you miss this crucial window of time? What happens when you hit snooze and let the day take you by surprise? You end up feeling reactive, stressed, and scattered. You rush to get ready, scrambling to meet deadlines, running late, and wishing you had more time to focus on your own goals. This is where the stress cycle begins, and it can be hard to break free from. But by owning your morning, you put yourself in the driver's seat. You start each day with the right energy, the right mindset, and the right focus. And that carries through every decision you make for the rest of the day. Instead of reacting to external circumstances, you control the narrative. Let's talk about why waking up early makes such a difference. First, it's about controlling your environment. When you wake up before anyone else, you give yourself the space to think, plan, and act without distractions. The phone hasn't started ringing, the emails haven't started flooding in, and there's no one else demanding your time. You have a sacred window to focus on yourself and your priorities. Additionally, waking up early has been linked to increased productivity, reduced stress, and better mental health. The early morning hours are when your brain is at its sharpest. You've just had a good night's sleep, and your energy levels are replenished. By waking up early, you tap into your natural biological rhythms, aligning your activities with when you're most alert and focused. So, here's the takeaway. Commit to waking up early and starting your day with purpose. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It just needs to be consistent. Find a routine that works for you and protect that time fiercely. The more you practice this, the more you'll realize that the first decision of your day, the decision to wake up with intention, can change everything. And if you can master your mornings, the rest of your day will follow. You'll move through life with more control, more focus, and more confidence. So go ahead, take control of your mornings. The power is yours. Now that we've covered the power of taking control over your mornings, let's talk about attention, specifically where you place it. You know the feeling. Your mind is a whirlwind of distractions. You're pulled in 10 different directions all day long. One moment, you're checking your emails. The next, you're scrolling through social media, lost in an endless sea of posts, notifications, and news. By the time you realize it, hours have passed and you've made very little progress toward your actual goals. So here's the hard truth. Your life moves in the direction of your attention. Wherever you focus, your mental energy is where you'll see results. If you're constantly distracted, pulled in 100 different directions, you're not going to see progress where it matters most. But if you choose to direct your attention toward things that move you forward, towards your goals, your growth, your vision, then your life will begin to reflect that. Well, let's break it down. When your attention is scattered, you're essentially wasting your potential. Every time you check your phone, respond to an email, or get sidetracked by a random thought, you're not just losing minutes, you're losing focus. And that focus is precious. And without it, your efforts are diluted, your productivity suffers, and you end up feeling like you're doing a lot but accomplishing very little. Think about it this way. If your mind is constantly jumping from one task to the next, your brain is never fully engaged in any one thing. You might feel busy, but busy doesn't equal productive. There's a huge difference between being active and being intentional. And to achieve lasting success, you need to move away from busyness and towards focused effort. This is especially true in today's world, where distractions are everywhere. You open your phone to check a message, but within seconds, you've spiraled into a social media rabbit hole. Or you start working on a task, only to be interrupted by a notification. These small distractions add up, and by the end of the day, you've spent more time reacting to outside stimuli than actually focusing on your own priorities. The result? You feel drained. You feel overwhelmed. You feel like you've done a lot, but not made any real progress. The key to overcoming this is simple. Start directing your attention where it truly matters. The good news is, attention is like a muscle. It's something you can train and strengthen over time. Just like lifting weights at the gym builds physical strength, practicing focus builds mental strength. And the more you practice directing your attention to the right things, the easier it becomes to stay focused and productive. Start by identifying what matters most to you. What are the things you want to accomplish? What are your big goals? And what steps do you need to take to get there? Once you've identified these priorities, it's time to focus on them exclusively. A huge part of managing your attention effectively is single tasking. I know, multitasking has been glorified for years, but the truth is, it's a productivity killer. When you try to juggle multiple things at once, you're spreading your mental energy thin, and you can't give any one task the attention it deserves. The result is poor performance, stress, and frustration. So, here's what I want you to do. Pick one task and focus on it until it's done. Don't let yourself get distracted by other things. If you feel the urge to check your phone, tell yourself, not right now. Every time you pull your attention back to the task at hand, you're not just getting work done, you're also strengthening your focus muscle. Start small. Maybe you set a timer for 20 minutes, and for that entire time, you're completely immersed in one task. No phone, no social media, no interruptions. At the end of the 20 minutes, take a short break and then repeat. Over time, you'll notice that you're able to sustain your attention for longer periods, and you'll start making bigger strides toward your goals. Now let's talk about the incredible impact this focused attention can have on your life. When you start to master the art of concentration, you'll notice something powerful. You're able to create instead of just consume. You're no longer a passive participant in your life, you're an active creator. Think about the people you admire, the successful entrepreneurs, the athletes, the artists. They didn't get to where they are by spreading their attention thin or chasing every shiny object that came their way. They got there by focusing on what mattered, by dedicating time, energy, and attention to their goals. They practiced the art of intentionality, and that's what allowed them to achieve greatness. When you give your full attention to something that matters to you, you build momentum. You begin to notice improvements in your work, your relationships, and your health. This is because when you focus, you begin to take intentional action. You stop wasting time on distractions, and you start making deliberate progress. So, how do you protect your attention from distractions? First, recognize that distractions are going to come up. That's a given. But instead of trying to avoid them completely, focus on how you respond to them. Every time a distraction arises, ask yourself, is this moving me closer to my goals? If it's not, let it go. If it is, give it your attention, but don't allow it to derail your focus. There's a simple but effective strategy I want you to try. The 5-minute rule. When you feel distracted, ask yourself, can I focus on this for just 5 more minutes? Most of the time, the answer will be yes. And if you can get through those 5 minutes, you'll often find that your focus comes back and the distraction loses its power. Another key to maintaining focus is to eliminate unnecessary distractions before you begin a task. Turn off notifications, close unused tabs, and create an environment that supports your concentration. Set yourself up for success before you even start working. Another aspect of focusing on the right things is taking time to reflect. When you're constantly moving forward, it's easy to forget to check in with yourself. But when you pause and reflect on your day, your actions and your choices, you gain valuable insights into where your attention is going. Make time at the end of each day to reflect on how you spent your time. Ask yourself, did I focus on the right things today? Where did I get distracted? What can I improve tomorrow? This practice of daily reflection ensures that your attention is always moving in the right direction. It helps you stay aligned with your goals and make course corrections along the way. At the end of the day, your attention is the most powerful tool you have. It shapes the direction of your life, the quality of your work, and your level of success. The more you protect it, the more you will accomplish. So, take control. Be intentional with where you place your attention. Start single tasking. Strengthen your focus. Eliminate distractions. And most importantly, recognize that your life moves in the direction of your attention. If you can direct it toward the things that matter most to you, you'll create a future that reflects your true potential. Now that we've talked about the importance of controlling your mornings and managing where you place your attention, let's dive into something even more powerful: creating something meaningful. So often, we fill our time with tasks that don't actually matter to us, things that don't serve our greater purpose, things that don't move us toward our goals. We get caught up in the busyness of life, ticking off items on a to-do list without stopping to think, what am I actually building here? That's what this section is all about, creating with intention. You see, in a world that constantly demands your attention, it's easy to get caught up in the small stuff, checking emails, answering texts, scrolling through social media, or running errands that don't truly matter. But at the end of the day, none of these things will help you move closer to your long-term goals or your deeper sense of purpose. So, how do you break out of this cycle? How do you start creating instead of just consuming? The act of building something meaningful, whether it's a new skill, a project, or a habit, grounds you. It connects you to your deeper sense of purpose. When you create something, you're not just passing time, you're investing in your future. This is where real fulfillment comes from. When you can look at what you've built and say, this matters. This is part of the person I want to become. Start small. Maybe it's writing a chapter of a book, designing a new product, or learning a skill that's been on your list for years. The key is that it's something you care about, something that pushes you toward your goals. And when you create, you stop feeling like a passive participant in your own life. You're no longer just reacting to everything around you. You become an active creator, shaping your future through deliberate action. The beauty of creating something meaningful is that it doesn't have to be grandiose. You don't need to start with a massive project to make an impact. In fact, starting small is one of the most powerful things you can do. Don't get overwhelmed by the scale of your goals. Just start. The act of creating, no matter how small, sparks a chain reaction of growth and improvement. One of the biggest obstacles to creating is time, or rather, the perceived lack of time. We all have the same 24 hours by then, but often, it feels like we're running out of time to focus on what really matters. That's why we go back to the first principle. Own your time. When you begin protecting that hour a day, you unlock time for creation. You make the decision to prioritize building over the constant cycle of consumption and distraction. Now, you might be thinking, but I'm already so busy with work, family, and life responsibilities. How can I find the time to create? The key is making intentional space. It's about deciding that your creative projects, your goals, and your personal development are non-negotiable. You have to make time for them because nobody else is going to carve that space out for you. So, how do you make time? Simple. Take an hour out of your day and commit it solely to creating. If that means waking up earlier or rearranging your schedule to protect that time, do it. It doesn't have to be a huge chunk of time. As we've already established, an hour is enough to make real progress if you're focused and intentional. Let's say you're working on a book, a business idea, or a side project. You can get a lot done in an hour of focused work. In fact, in 1 hour a day, you'll make significant progress. Over a month, that's 30 hours. That's 30 hours of creating. 30 hours that could potentially move you closer to achieving something meaningful. Building something meaningful requires a certain kind of courage. It requires the courage to create when no one is watching, when you're not getting external validation or applause. This is something that most people struggle with. We live in a world where we're constantly looking for external validation, whether it's through likes on social media, approval from our peers, or recognition at work. But real creation often happens in silence. When you build something meaningful, you do it because you believe in the process, not because you're waiting for someone else to approve it. This is where real fulfillment lies. It's in the act of creating because it matters to you, not because you expect anything in return. At first, you might feel like no one notices your efforts, but here's the truth. You are your biggest fan. When you create with intention, you're building something that serves your greater purpose. You don't need immediate validation to know that what you're doing matters. You'll see the results over time, not just in the things you create, but in the person you become through the process. Building something meaningful isn't always easy. There will be days when you don't feel like it, days when you face obstacles, setbacks, or self-doubt. But that's part of the process. The key to success is consistency, showing up every day. Even when it's hard, even when the results aren't immediately apparent, remember, every small step counts. You don't need to finish everything in one go. The important part is to keep moving forward, even if it's just a little bit at a time. As long as you're consistent, you will see progress. And that progress adds up. Start with small, manageable tasks. Break down your big goal into smaller steps. Celebrate each small victory. Whether it's completing a chapter of a book, finishing a piece of artwork, or learning a new skill. These small wins build momentum. The more you create, the more you'll want to create. And don't forget, creating something meaningful is not just about the end result. It's about the journey, the person you become along the way. Every time you push through resistance, every time you show up and work on your craft, you grow, you become more resilient, more focused, and more aligned with your true purpose. As you continue on your journey of building, take time to reflect on your progress. How far have you come? What have you learned along the way? How has the act of creation changed you? Don't be afraid to look back and appreciate the small wins. They add up to big results. But also, don't stop there. Keep looking forward. Keep creating. Keep building. The world is waiting for what only you can bring into existence. In conclusion, creating something meaningful doesn't have to be a monumental task. It's about the small kitchen's consistent actions that lead to something bigger. It's about deciding that your time, your energy, and your efforts are worth investing in what truly matters. So, whether it's a side project, A hobby? Or a goal you've been putting off for years? Now is the time to start. The act of creation is your path to fulfillment, growth, and lasting success. Let's move on to something that plays a pivotal role in your personal growth. Naneli edikirgemo at learning. We live in a world where information is constantly being thrown at us, where it's easy to be overwhelmed by the sheer volume of content available. But amidst all the noise, there's one thing that can truly propel you forward. The ability to learn, and not just any kind of learning, but purposeful, intentional learning that directly contributes to your growth and success. How many times have you told yourself, "I'll learn this later"? How often do you put off learning something new because it feels too complicated, too time-consuming, or you simply don't have the energy? Well, in this section, we're going to change that mindset. We're going to explore why making learning a daily habit is one of the most powerful tools you have for transformation, and how dedicating just a small amount of time each day to learning one useful thing can change the trajectory of your life. The idea of learning one useful thing a day may seem too simple to be impactful, but let me tell you, it's profound. Imagine dedicating just 10-20 minutes each day to learn something that directly impacts your goals or mindset. It doesn't have to be a massive leap. It doesn't have to be a breakthrough idea. It just needs to be something useful, something that can shift your thinking, improve your habits, or give you the skills you need to take the next step. You don't have to read a whole book in a day or consume an entire course in one sitting. Instead, focus on one idea, one concept, or one skill that you can digest in a manageable amount of time. That one small thing, when compounded over time, adds up to huge growth. For example, you might read a chapter of a book about time management, learn how to effectively plan your day, and implement one new strategy in your routine. That's a small action, but it will have a ripple effect on how productive and focused you are. Or maybe you learn a new communication technique that helps you connect better with others in your professional life. In both cases, you're gaining knowledge and applying it immediately. Learning one useful thing a day doesn't just mean absorbing facts or skills. It also means learning how to think better. By dedicating time each day to learning something new, you're exercising your brain. You're improving your ability to solve problems, analyze situations, and make better decisions. Critical thinking, problem solving, and adaptability are all skills that improve with practice. So, why not practice them every day? The more you engage with new ideas, the more flexible and creative your thinking becomes. Over time, this builds your confidence. You no longer feel stuck when you encounter a challenge because you know that you have the tools to learn your way out of it. It's not enough to learn something once and expect lasting change. Consistency is the secret. If you want to develop a mindset of growth, it's not about binge learning for a weekend or reading a stack of self-help books. It's about showing up every day, even if it's just for a small dose of learning. This consistent, incremental growth will compound over time and lead to big transformations. Think about it this way. If you learn just one new thing every day, that's 365 things you've learned by the end of the year. And those 365 pieces of knowledge, insight, and skills will reshape who you are. It's no longer about trying to learn everything all at once. It's about focusing on steady, incremental progress. What's amazing about learning one useful thing per day is that you can fit it into your life without feeling overwhelmed. You can dedicate 10 minutes to a podcast, 15 minutes to reading a chapter, or 20 minutes to watching an instructional video. This doesn't require a huge time commitment, but the results are exponential, just like with the hour-a-day habit. Learning doesn't need to be intense to be powerful. It just needs to be consistent. In a world full of noise, It's crucial to focus on quality over quantity when it comes to learning. You don't need to be consuming information from every possible source, because not all knowledge is created equal. What you need is to seek out information that serves your goals, whether it's a new skill, a mindset shift, or an area of knowledge that will propel you forward in your life or career. If you're an entrepreneur, maybe you focus on learning more about business strategy, marketing, or leadership. If you're building a fitness routine, perhaps you dedicate time to learning about nutrition, exercise physiology, or mindfulness. If you're focused on personal development, you could dive into books and podcasts that teach emotional intelligence, mental resilience, or critical thinking. The point is, choose your learning sources wisely. Prioritize knowledge that helps you grow and filter out content that's simply noise. One well-curated source of knowledge is more valuable than dozens of random and unhelpful pieces of information. It's one thing to learn something new, but it's another thing entirely to apply it. Knowledge doesn't become power until it's used. So, when you learn something, ask yourself, how can I apply this in my life today? Don't let what you've learned stay in the realm of theory. Bring it into your reality. Let's say you learn a new time management strategy. The next day, put it into practice. Apply it to your work, your routines, your interactions. This is where learning transforms from a passive activity into an active, life-changing force. Every time you apply what you've learned, you strengthen your ability to take knowledge and turn it into action. You'll be surprised by how much more engaging learning becomes when you see real or tangible results from your efforts. It's not just about learning for the sake of learning. It's about using that knowledge to create real change in your life. And when you experience this firsthand, you'll be motivated to continue learning and applying. The more you apply what you've learned, the more feedback you get, you'll see what works, what doesn't, and where you need to improve. This feedback is priceless because it gives you direction. It shows you where to double down and where to pivot. Over time, this feedback loop becomes a self-sustaining cycle of growth. The more you learn, the more you improve, the more you improve, the more you learn. And that's the beauty of this process. It's not just about gaining knowledge. It's about gaining wisdom through experience. As you continue learning and applying what you've learned, you start to see patterns, make smarter decisions, and build better habits. You become the person who knows how to handle challenges because you've accumulated the right knowledge to tackle them. So, how do you make learning one useful thing a day a part of your life? It starts with commitment. Decide that learning is no longer optional, but a key part of your daily routine. Set aside time each day for it and make it non-negotiable. You can start small, even if it's just 10 minutes a day. Start by reading one article, listening to a podcast, or watching a video. Gradually, you'll find that you crave more. The more you learn, the more you'll want to learn. Remember, the key isn't to overwhelm yourself with information. It's about choosing one useful thing, absorbing it, and applying it. Over time, these small daily learning experiences will compound, and you'll find yourself equipped with the tools, knowledge, and mindset to take on whatever comes your way. By making learning a habit, you're investing in yourself. You're building a foundation that will help you achieve your goals and become the best version of yourself. So, don't wait. Start learning one useful thing today and tomorrow. Learn something else. Every day is a chance to grow. Let's turn the focus now to something often overlooked in the hustle to get ahead. Movement. Yes, you read that right. Movement. You may be thinking, what does exercise have to do with my personal growth or achieving success? Well, let me tell you. Movement is one of the most powerful tools you have for creating momentum in your life. When you are in a state of stagnation, whether mentally, physically, or emotionally, everything feels sluggish. You feel like you're going through the motions, getting nowhere. But the moment you get your body moving, something shifts. Your energy increases, your clarity improves, and you start to feel a sense of control over your life. In this section, we'll dive into how incorporating physical activity into your daily routine can boost your productivity, sharpen your mind, and give you the energy to tackle any challenge that comes your way. You've probably heard the phrase, "a healthy body equals a healthy mind." But it's more than just a catchy saying. It's the truth. Our bodies and minds are deeply connected. When you move your body, you release endorphins, which are natural mood boosters. You also increase blood flow to the brain, which helps improve cognitive function, focus, and creativity. It's as simple as this. The more you move, the better you think. When you spend long hours sitting at a desk, or when you're glued to your phone or computer, your body starts to feel sluggish. The same happens with your mind. Your focus deteriorates, your creativity wanes, and your motivation takes a hit. That's why incorporating movement into your day is so crucial. It gets your blood flowing, your heart pumping, and your brain engaged. Now, I know what you're thinking. I don't have time to work out for an hour every day. And that's okay. You don't need to. You don't need to spend hours in the gym or follow some intense fitness routine. What matters most is consistency, not the intensity of the workout. Even small movements can make a huge difference. You can start with just a few minutes of stretching, walking, or light exercises. For example, try taking a 10-minute walk every morning, or spend 10 minutes doing some light stretching before you dive into your day. These small bursts of movement help activate your body and mind, setting the tone for a productive day ahead. Over time, these small habits add up. They build the foundation for a more active lifestyle, and you'll begin to notice an increase in your overall energy, focus, and well-being. When you feel mentally overwhelmed or stuck, movement is one of the best ways to break through the fog. It acts as a reset button. Maybe you're stuck on a difficult task, or you've been staring at the same problem for hours. Instead of pushing through in frustration, step away and move your body. Go for a walk, do some jumping jacks, or even stretch for 5 minutes. You'll find that when you return to your work, you feel refreshed, re-energized, and ready to tackle whatever's in front of you. This is especially important for people who work in jobs that require long hours of sitting or staring at a screen. These sedentary habits can take a toll on both your body and your mind. Getting up, moving, and changing your physical state helps break the monotony and refresh your perspective. Like any other habit, movement needs to be incorporated consistently into your routine if you want to see lasting results. This isn't about sporadic bursts of exercise or intense workouts every once in a while. It's about making movement part of your daily life. Whether that's starting your day with a brisk walk, taking breaks throughout the day to stretch or move, or adding a short workout in the evening. The key is to find something that works for you and commit to it daily. One way to ensure you make movement a priority is to set a specific time for it each day. For example, maybe you dedicate 10 minutes to stretching every morning before you dive into your work. Or perhaps you take a 15-minute walk after lunch to clear your head and re-energize. Whatever it is, make it a routine. Just like brushing your teeth or having your morning coffee. You're probably thinking, but I'm too busy to exercise, or I don't have the motivation to move every day. This is a common struggle, and it's totally understandable. But here's the thing, motivation follows action. The more you move, the more your body craves it. At first, It might feel like a chore and you might struggle to make it a regular habit. But once you start feeling the benefits, more energy, better mood, improved focus, you'll start to look forward to that movement time. Here's another tip. Don't wait for the perfect moment to start moving. Don't wait until you feel energized or until you have the perfect workout routine planned. Start with what you have now and take small steps. Even 5 minutes of stretching or a quick walk will set the foundation for bigger changes over time. If you miss a day, don't beat yourself up. Just get back at it the next day. Building this habit is about consistency, not perfection. Let's face it, life is stressful, whether it's work, relationships, or personal challenges. Stress is a part of life, but movement is one of the most effective ways to release that stress. When you exercise, you not only release endorphins, but also reduce cortisol, the hormone responsible for stress. This leads to a calmer, more focused mindset. Next time you're feeling overwhelmed, instead of diving deeper into your work or getting stuck in negative thought patterns, get up and move. Whether it's taking a brisk walk outside or doing some yoga stretches, you'll immediately feel more grounded and centered. This doesn't just help with physical well-being, it's essential for mental health too. Another powerful benefit of incorporating movement into your routine is the boost in confidence. When you move your body, you feel stronger, more capable, and more in control. These small wins, getting up, moving, and following through, translate into a stronger sense of self-esteem. You start feeling more positive about yourself and your abilities. The more you move, the more you believe in your own power to take on challenges and push through obstacles. Physical activity not only boosts your confidence, but also helps you become more resilient. When you train your body to handle physical challenges, it mirrors your ability to face mental and emotional challenges. You start proving to yourself that you're capable of pushing past discomfort, which builds mental strength. This resilience is something you can carry into every area of your life. The long-term benefits of incorporating movement into your daily routine are undeniable. When you move regularly, you improve your cardiovascular health, increase your muscle strength, boost your immune system, and even improve your sleep quality. But the most important benefit is the mental clarity and emotional stability it brings. As you continue moving, you'll notice a shift in your energy levels. You'll feel less strained by the end of the day, more focused throughout your work, and more present in your personal life. Physical activity becomes the foundation that supports all other aspects of your well-being. Movement is more than just a way to stay fit. It's a powerful tool for enhancing your mental clarity, boosting your productivity, and increasing your overall quality of life. So, take a moment right now to commit to incorporating more movement into your day. It doesn't have to be big or intense. Start small, stay consistent, and watch how it transforms not just your body, but your mind and your entire approach to life. Now that we've explored how movement enhances your life, let's shift focus to something that's often underestimated: reflection. In a world that moves at a relentless pace, we rarely take the time to slow down and evaluate where we are and where we're headed. We're constantly doing, working, learning, and creating. But how often do we stop and truly reflect on how we're spending our time, our energy, and our efforts? Reflection is not just a passive activity. It's a powerful tool for growth. When you reflect on your actions, thoughts, and emotions, you gain insights that can help you improve, align your efforts with your goals, and adjust course when needed. It's about taking a step back to see the bigger picture and assess whether your daily actions are getting you closer to where you want to be. In this section, we're going to explore how you can make reflection a regular part of your routine, how it can help you gain clarity and make better decisions, and how to use it to stay aligned with your long-term vision. Let's face it, without reflection, progress can feel like running on a hamster wheel. You're working hard, but you may not be getting closer to your goals. You may be busy, but are you being effective? Reflection helps answer that question. When you reflect, you give yourself the space to assess what's working and what isn't. It allows you to make adjustments in real time before bad habits or ineffective strategies take hold. Without reflection, you're simply reacting to life as it comes at you. But with reflection, you gain control. You make conscious decisions about where to put your energy and effort. Think about the last time you stopped to evaluate your progress. Maybe you were frustrated with where you were, or maybe you celebrated some wins. Regardless of the outcome, that moment of reflection gave you important insights. It's that reflection that guides you toward the best next steps. Now the question is, how do you incorporate reflection into your busy day? Many of us skip over this step because we feel like we don't have time. We're too busy achieving to sit back and think about our progress. But the truth is, reflection doesn't require a lot of time. It just requires intentionality. You can start small. Set aside 10 to 15 minutes at the end of each day to reflect on your experiences. A great time to do this is right before bed, when you can look back on the day and ask yourself, what did I do well today? What could I improve? Now, what did I learn? Another powerful time to reflect is in the morning. Before you dive into your day, take a moment to think about your goals and intentions for the day ahead. Ask yourself how your actions today will bring you closer to your long-term vision. You don't need to spend hours in deep thought. Just a few minutes of focused reflection will make all the difference. Reflection isn't just about looking back on your day. It's about asking the right questions. When you reflect, make sure you're asking questions that spark insight and guide you toward growth. Here are a few questions you can ask yourself each day. What went well today? This helps you focus on your wins and celebrate your progress. What could I have done differently? This encourages you to look at areas for improvement and learn from your mistakes. How did I feel today? This question helps you tune into your emotions and understand what's driving your behaviors and decisions. Did my actions align with my goals? This keeps you focused on the bigger picture and ensures you're staying on track. What did I learn today? Every day is an opportunity for growth. Reflection allows you to capture the lessons of the day, big or small. One powerful way to integrate reflection into your routine is through journaling. Writing down your thoughts helps you clarify your feelings and ideas. It's also an effective way to track your progress over time. When you look back on your journal entries, you can see how far you've come and gain new insights into your growth. You don't need a formal journaling practice to get started. Even a simple bullet point list of reflections at the end of your day can be incredibly powerful. For example, jot down what went well, what you learned, and what you'd like to improve. You can also use your journal to set intentions for the next day. If you're someone who enjoys writing, you might prefer a more detailed journaling practice. Some people write full pages about their day, their emotions, and their goals. The format doesn't matter. It's the act of reflecting and writing down your thoughts that counts. Reflection is also a powerful tool for staying aligned with your long-term goals. It's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day grind, but when you reflect regularly, you ensure that your actions are moving you toward what you truly want. When you reflect, ask yourself, am I still on track? Sometimes we get sidetracked by distractions or short-term tasks that don't align with our bigger vision. Reflection helps you course correct before you waste too much time or energy on things that don't matter. It gives you clarity on where to focus your attention and how to realign your actions with your true goals. For example, let's say your goal is to start a new business. but you've been spending all your time on smaller, less important tasks. A moment of reflection might reveal that you're not prioritizing your most important work, so you can adjust your focus and start making the necessary changes. Reflection is also key for building self-awareness, the cornerstone of personal growth. When you reflect regularly, you become more in tune with your thoughts, emotions, and actions. This self-awareness helps you understand why you do the things you do, which is crucial for making positive changes in your life. For instance, when you reflect on a challenging situation, ask yourself, how did I react to this? What emotions came up for me? Was my response aligned with the person I want to be? These kinds of questions help you deepen your understanding of yourself and give you the opportunity to adjust your behavior moving forward. The more self-aware you become, the more control you'll have over your actions and reactions. You'll be able to identify patterns of behavior that are holding you back, and you'll be better equipped to make the changes needed to move forward. Reflection is also a key component of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize and understand your emotions and the emotions of others, and to use that awareness to manage your behavior and relationships. Reflection helps you become more attuned to your emotional state, which is essential for developing emotional intelligence. When you reflect on your emotions, you gain insight into how they affect your decisions and actions. For example, if you're feeling anxious or frustrated, reflecting on why you feel that way can help you process those emotions and prevent them from negatively influencing your behavior. This level of emotional awareness is essential for maintaining healthy relationships, staying calm under pressure, and leading with confidence. Incorporating reflection into your daily routine will transform the way you approach life. It helps you gain clarity, make better decisions, and stay aligned with your goals. It enhances your self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and ability to learn from your experiences. By taking just a few minutes each day to reflect, you're creating a feedback loop that continuously improves your mindset and actions. So, start today. Carve out a few moments each day to reflect on your progress, your emotions, and your goals. Ask yourself the right questions and allow those insights to guide you. Reflection doesn't just help you grow, it allows you to understand and embrace your journey, making every step more intentional and meaningful. We've discussed the importance of focusing on your mornings, attention, movement, and reflection. But now it's time to confront one of the hardest and most crucial aspects of growth: facing your problems head on. It's easy to ignore issues, to push them aside, or to convince ourselves that we'll deal with them later. But here's the truth: avoiding your problems only gives them more power. If you don't deal with them now, they'll come back later, stronger and more difficult to manage. This section is about stopping the cycle of avoidance and taking responsibility for the problems you're running from. Whether it's a difficult conversation you've been avoiding, a habit you know you need to change, or an issue in your life that you've been too afraid to face, it's time to take action. Facing your problems isn't easy, but it's the only way to truly move forward. In this section, we'll explore why it's important to confront your problems, how to break the cycle of avoidance, and how to turn your fears into stepping stones for growth. First, let's talk about why avoidance is so dangerous. When you avoid a problem, it doesn't go away, it only grows. The more you ignore it, the more it festers and takes control of your mind. You may tell yourself, "I'll handle it later." But in the meantime, that issue is stealing your energy, focus, and peace of mind. It's a weight that you carry around, even if you're not consciously thinking about it. In addition to draining your energy, avoiding problems can create a cycle of fear and stress. The longer you avoid something, the more anxious you become about it. You start to build it up in your mind, imagining worst-case scenarios and feeling paralyzed by your fear. This only makes it harder to take action when the time comes. Here's the thing. The longer you put something off, the harder it becomes to face. But when you take action and deal with the problem head-on, you gain back control. You free yourself from the mental burden that comes with avoiding it. The first step in facing any problem is acknowledging it. This might sound obvious, but many people fail to recognize the true extent of their problems. We often minimize issues, tell ourselves they're not that big of a deal, or convince ourselves that they'll resolve on their own. But the reality is, denial doesn't make the problem disappear. It only prolongs the inevitable and makes the situation worse. Start by asking yourself, what am I avoiding? What issue in my life am I pretending isn't there? Once you've identified the problem, you can begin to take ownership of it. You don't need to have all the answers right away, but acknowledging the issue is the first step toward taking responsibility and moving forward. Once you've acknowledged the problem, the next step is taking action. It's easy to get overwhelmed by a big issue and feel like you need to solve everything at once. But real progress happens when you break the problem down into smaller, more manageable steps. Instead of focusing on the enormity of the issue, focus on what you can do today. For example, if you've been avoiding a difficult conversation with a colleague or loved one, don't try to solve the entire situation in one sitting. Start by preparing for the conversation. Write down what you want to say, practice it in your mind, and set a date to have the conversation. By breaking it down into smaller tasks, you make the process less overwhelming and more achievable. This approach applies to any problem, whether it's health-related, financial, or emotional. When you take small steps, you build momentum, and that momentum creates confidence. Each step you take toward addressing the problem makes the next step easier. Let's be honest, facing problems head-on is uncomfortable. It requires vulnerability, courage, and the willingness to feel the discomfort that comes with change. We're naturally wired to avoid pain and discomfort, but growth doesn't happen in comfort zones. It happens when you push through fear and uncertainty. Embrace discomfort as a part of the process. The more you lean into it, the easier it becomes to face challenges in the future. Every time you push through a difficult situation, you build resilience and confidence. It's like a muscle. The more you work it, the stronger it becomes. Instead of shying away from discomfort, reframe it. See it as an opportunity for growth, a sign that you're moving in the right direction. When you face discomfort with an open mind, you're signaling to yourself that you're capable of handling whatever comes your way. Sometimes, the hardest part of facing a problem is doing it alone. This is where accountability comes in. Having someone to share your struggles with, someone who will encourage you to take action, can make all the difference. This person doesn't have to give you all the answers. They just need to hold you accountable for taking the necessary steps. Whether it's a mentor, a friend, or a coach, having someone who checks in with you can provide the motivation you need to keep going. Accountability helps you stay committed and prevents you from slipping back into avoidance. It's the support you need to ensure that you continue making progress, even when it feels hard. If you don't have someone to hold you accountable, consider finding an accountability partner. It could be as simple as telling a friend about your goals and asking them to follow up with you. Or you can set up regular check-ins with someone who can offer guidance and feedback as you tackle your problems. Facing problems is not a one-time event. It's a habit. The more you practice confronting your challenges, the easier it becomes to face new ones. The key is to make it a non-negotiable part of your growth process. When a problem arises, don't run from it. Ask yourself, What can I do today to address this? Then take action. The sooner you address an issue, the less time it has to grow into something bigger. Start by facing one small problem at a time. It could be something as simple as organizing a messy workspace or setting a boundary with a friend. As you build this habit, you'll feel more empowered to take on bigger challenges, knowing that you have the tools and mindset to handle them. Fear is the primary reason many of us avoid facing problems. We fear failure, rejection, or conflict. And those fears hold us back from making progress. But here's the thing. Fear is a natural part of growth. It doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It means you're stretching your limits, stepping into new territory. Instead of allowing fear to paralyze you, use it as fuel. Acknowledge it, but don't let it control you. Move through the fear, and you'll realize that it wasn't as big of a barrier as you thought. Once you confront your fears, they lose their power over you. When you face your problems, you gain several benefits: clarity, confidence, and control. Problems become opportunities for growth rather than obstacles to your progress. When you consistently address issues instead of avoiding them, you'll feel a sense of accomplishment and mastery over your life. Every problem you face and solve builds momentum and strengthens your belief in your own capabilities. By taking responsibility for your problems, you stop being a passive observer in your life. Instead, you become an active participant in shaping your future. Today is the day to stop running from your problems. Whether it's a difficult conversation, a bad habit, or a challenge you've been avoiding for months, now is the time to face it, acknowledge it, break it down into manageable steps, and take action. It won't be easy, but it will be worth it. You have the strength and resilience to handle whatever comes your way. You just have to decide to face it. Start now and watch how taking responsibility for your problems transforms your life. Now that we've explored the power of facing your problems and taking ownership of your life, let's talk about the importance of tracking your progress. In the journey toward personal growth, success, and achievement, one of the most overlooked yet impactful strategies is tracking your actions. It's easy to get lost in the hustle, to feel like you're putting in all the effort, but not seeing the results. This can be frustrating and discouraging, but there's a simple solution. Track what you do, and you will see exactly where you're succeeding and where you need to adjust. Tracking is more than just monitoring your daily tasks. It's about measuring your habits, your actions, and your results. It's about turning your effort into something tangible and measurable so that you can see exactly how far you've come and how much further you still need to go. In this section, we'll dive into why tracking is so powerful, how to start tracking your progress effectively, and how it can help you stay consistent, accountable, and on course. The first thing to understand is that tracking is the bridge between intention and results. Without tracking, it's easy to get caught in the cycle of hoping things will improve but never really measuring if they are. Think about it. You may have goals to exercise more, eat healthier, or be more productive. But how do you know if you're actually making progress? Without tracking, you're essentially operating blindly. You may think you're improving, but you don't have any concrete data to back that up. Tracking gives you clarity. When you see your progress laid out in front of you, you're able to make informed decisions about what's working and what's not. It turns vague, intangible goals into measurable milestones. Every time you track your actions, you turn them into small victories. And those small victories add up over time. Let's say you've set a goal to write a book. Each day, you track how many words you write. After a week, you can look back and see exactly how much you've accomplished. Without tracking, you might forget how much effort you've actually put in. and that feeling of accomplishment might slip away unnoticed. But when you track it, you can see the tangible progress you've made, and it motivates you to keep going. When you track your habits, you gain insight into your daily patterns. You start to see where you're putting your energy, how often you're sticking to your routine, and where you might be slipping up. This awareness allows you to make adjustments as needed and keeps you on track toward your goals. Tracking habits also gives you accountability. When you write down what you've done or haven't done, you're more likely to stay consistent. The act of tracking holds you accountable, even when no one else is watching. You can't hide from the facts. When you track, the numbers tell the truth. But there's more to it than just accountability. Tracking your habits also helps you build momentum. When you see consistent progress, it reinforces your belief so that you can achieve your goals. Every day you track your habits, you're creating a positive feedback loop. The more consistent you are, the more progress you make, and the more motivated you become to continue. Getting started with tracking is easier than you might think. The key is simplicity. The less complicated the tracking process, the more likely you are to stick with it. Here are a few steps to help you get started. 1. Identify your key goals and habits. Before you start tracking, identify the goals and habits that are most important to you, whether it's writing every day, exercising, reading, or improving your focus. Choose the habits that will make the biggest difference in your life. Focus on quality over quantity. Don't try to track everything at once. 2. Choose a simple method. You don't need a fancy app or a detailed system to get started. Choose a method that works for you, whether it's a notebook, a digital app, or a habit tracker sheet. Keep it simple so that you don't get bogged down by the process itself. The important thing is consistency. For example, you might want to use a journal to record your daily activities, or you could use a digital app that tracks your progress in real time. The key is to find something that you can easily integrate into your routine. 3. Set clear milestones. When tracking your progress, be specific. Set clear, achievable milestones so that you have something tangible to aim for. Instead of saying, I want to be more productive, set a goal like, I will write 500 words every day for the next 30 days. When you hit that milestone, you'll feel a sense of accomplishment and motivation to keep going. 4. Review your progress regularly. It's important not just to track, but also to review. Set aside time at the end of each week to look back on your progress. Ask yourself, what worked? What didn't? Where can I improve? This review process is crucial for making adjustments and ensuring that you stay on course. It also reinforces the idea that tracking is an ongoing process of learning and growth. One of the biggest challenges with tracking is staying consistent. It's easy to start off strong, but over time, you may lose momentum and forget to track your progress. The best way to overcome this is to make tracking a non-negotiable part of your routine. Treat it like any other important task on your to-do list. To make tracking easier, consider setting a specific time each day to do it. For example, you could track your progress right after your morning routine or before going to bed. The more you make it a habit, the less you'll have to think about it. Another tip is to celebrate your small wins. When you hit a milestone, take a moment to celebrate. Reward yourself for staying consistent. This helps reinforce the habit of tracking and makes the process more enjoyable. Tracking is the foundation of long-term success. Over time, you'll accumulate a wealth of data about your habits, your progress, and your patterns. This information is invaluable because it helps you see what's working and what isn't. It also gives you a clear picture of your strengths and areas for improvement. When you track your progress, You stop relying on memory and guesswork. You have concrete proof of how much effort you've put in and how much you've grown. This not only boosts your motivation, but also helps you stay aligned with your goals. The longer you track, the clearer your path becomes. In the end, tracking is one of the most powerful tools you have to ensure that you stay on course toward your goals. It's not just about measuring success. It's about creating a system that holds you accountable, builds momentum, and keeps you aligned with your long-term vision. By tracking your habits and actions, you gain clarity, motivation, and insight into your progress. So start today. Begin tracking your actions and watch how it transforms your journey. With consistent effort and a commitment to tracking, you'll be amazed at how far you can go. Now that we've talked about how tracking can solidify your growth and keep you aligned with your goals, let's dive into the power of repetition. You've heard the saying, practice makes perfect. But repetition isn't just about improving skills or performance. It's about becoming the person you want to be. It's the process of reinforcing the right actions and habits until they become part of your identity. In this section, we'll discuss why repetition is one of the most crucial elements of success. We'll look at how consistently repeating the habits that align with your goals helps you build lasting change, and how sticking with the process, even when the results aren't immediately visible, leads to extraordinary transformation. Repetition is what bridges the gap between good intentions and real results. It's how you create the lasting change that stays with you for a lifetime. It's easy to get excited about starting a new habit or a new project. The first few days are often full of energy, enthusiasm, and motivation. But as the novelty wears off, so does the initial drive. This is where repetition becomes crucial. Repetition isn't about doing the same thing over and over for the sake of it. It's about showing up consistently and doing the work. Even when you don't feel like it, it's about making small, deliberate actions every day that, over time, accumulate into massive results. Think about how habits are formed. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, usually between 21 to 66 days, to make a habit automatic. And that's because your brain needs to be rewired to make a new behavior feel like second nature. Repetition is the process through which this happens. By consistently repeating the behavior, you're training your brain to make it a default action. Just like lifting weights builds physical muscle, repetition builds mental and emotional muscle. Every time you show up and do the work, whether it's writing, exercising, meditating, or focusing on your goals, you're strengthening your ability to stick with it. At first, it may feel challenging. It may feel like you're not making much progress, especially if you're not seeing the immediate results. But here's the thing. The muscle you're building is internal. You're strengthening your discipline, your resilience, and your commitment. And these qualities are the foundation of success. Over time, the repetition becomes easier, and the results start to show up. But it's only through sticking with it day after day that you begin to see the transformation take place. This is true for any goal, big or small. Whether you're building a new business, getting fit, or learning a new skill, the key to success is doing it every day. One of the biggest challenges to sustained success is consistency. It's easy to start strong, but harder to maintain momentum over the long term. Repetition, however, helps you break through the barriers of inconsistency. The more you repeat something, the more it becomes a part of your daily routine. It moves from being something you have to think about to something that's automatic. Consistency is where you separate the amateurs from the professionals. Successful people understand that real transformation doesn't come from working hard for a few days or weeks. It comes from showing up every single day, even when the excitement fades. So, How do you maintain consistency with repetition? One key is to make the process enjoyable. If you're doing something you love, repetition won't feel like a chore. Whether you're reading, exercising, or working on a project, find ways to make it fun, engaging, and fulfilling. When you enjoy the process, it becomes much easier to stick with it. Big goals can often feel overwhelming, especially when they're far in the future. But small key repetitive actions add up quickly and make the process less daunting. It's not about making huge leaps forward. It's about taking small steps, consistently. For example, let's say your goal is to write a book. The idea of completing a full manuscript can be intimidating. But if you commit to writing just 500 words a day, you'll have a complete draft in less than a year. The key is the daily repetition. Writing a small amount each day adds up over time. This principle applies to any goal, whether it's saving money, losing weight, learning a new skill, or building a business. Breaking your goal down into manageable daily actions and repeating them consistently leads to massive progress. The beauty of repetition is that it builds momentum. When you do something consistently, you start to see small results. Those small results inspire you to keep going, which leads to even more results. Before you know it, your small, repeated actions have turned into a habit that feels automatic. Momentum is a powerful force. Once you start building it, it becomes easier to keep going. You'll find that the hard work at the beginning pays off, and you start feeling more energized and motivated as you see progress. You won't have to force yourself to stay consistent because the habit will start to feel natural. The trick is to get started and then focus on the process, not the end result. The more you repeat, the more momentum you build, and the closer you get to achieving your goals. One of the hardest parts of building a new habit or achieving a big goal is facing resistance. Resistance shows up when you feel tired, unmotivated, or doubtful. It's that voice in your head that tells you to skip your workout, put off writing, or stop working on your project. The key to overcoming resistance is repetition. When you show up every day, even when you don't feel like it, you teach your mind that resistance isn't an excuse to quit. Each time you push through, you strengthen your resolve. This doesn't mean ignoring rest or pushing yourself to exhaustion. It simply means choosing to show up and do the work, even when you don't feel like it. The more you repeat this process, the easier it becomes to overcome resistance, and the more you begin to see progress. Repetition does more than just help you achieve your goals. It also helps you shape your identity. When you consistently repeat positive actions, you start to see yourself as the kind of person who does those things. You become the person who writes every day, who works out consistently, who tackles problems head on. Your habits become part of your identity. For example, if you want to be a writer, the key isn't just to write occasionally, it's to write every day, even when it's hard. The more you write, the more you begin to see yourself as a writer. The same applies to anything you want to become. When repetition becomes ingrained in your daily routine, it becomes part of who you are. In the end, repetition is the secret to long-term success. It's the key to building the habits that will shape your life and help you achieve your goals. The more consistently you show up, the more momentum you create, and the closer you get to the person you want to become. It's not about doing everything perfectly. It's about showing up every day, repeating the actions that will move you forward. So, make repetition a part of your daily routine. Whether it's small habits, action, or mindsets, repeat them consistently, and you'll see the transformation unfold. Success isn't an overnight achievement. It's the result of continuous, deliberate effort. Keep repeating the actions that align with your goals, and you'll build a future you can be proud of. We've talked about the importance of repetition. And now let's shift our focus to something that underpins all the previous concepts we've discussed: intentionality. If you've been going through the motions of life, working hard but not really getting anywhere, it's time to pause and ask yourself, are you being intentional with your time and energy? Intentionality is the key to creating a life of purpose, all clarity and focus. It's not about mindlessly checking things off a to-do list. It's about being deliberate in everything you do, from how you start your day to the decisions you make and the way you engage with your goals. Intentionality is what transforms routine actions into powerful movements toward success. In this section, we'll explore what it means to live intentionally, how you can infuse intention into every area of your life, and the profound impact it can have on your growth and success. Living intentionally means making conscious decisions about how you spend your time, energy, and resources. It's about recognizing that each moment is precious and that everything you do has an impact on your future, instead of reacting to circumstances or drifting through life. Intentionality means choosing how you want to show up every day. When you live intentionally, you start to act with a clear purpose behind every action. You don't just respond to life, you shape it. Intentionality is about creating alignment between your actions and your values, making sure that what you do every day moves you closer to the person you want to be and the life you want to create. For example, instead of working without focus, you take the time to prioritize your tasks and work on what truly matters. Instead of mindlessly scrolling through social media, you decide to invest your time in learning something that aligns with your goals. Living intentionally means recognizing the power of your choices and making them with purpose. A common misconception is that living intentionally means making huge, sweeping changes. In reality, it's the small, intentional actions that have the biggest impact. Think about the daily choices you make, even the seemingly insignificant ones. Each choice you make either moves you closer to or further away from your goals. For instance, if your goal is to build a successful business, you can't wait for the perfect time to start. You have to take small, consistent actions every day, whether it's reading about your industry, writing a blog post, or reaching out to potential clients. Each of these small actions compounds over time, and before you know it, you've made significant progress toward your goal. The power of living intentionally lies in your ability to make deliberate decisions. You may not have control over everything that happens in your life, but you can control how you respond to it. Every small, intentional action adds up and ultimately shapes your destiny. The first step to living intentionally is getting clear about your values and goals. What's most important to you? What do you want to achieve in the short term and long term? When you're clear about these, you can align your daily actions with your desired outcomes. Here's how to infuse more intention into your life. 所以, start your day with intention. The way you begin your day sets the tone for everything that follows. Instead of rushing into your tasks, take a moment to center yourself. Start your morning by setting clear intentions for the day ahead. Ask yourself, what do I want to achieve today? What will I focus on? This simple practice helps you stay grounded and aligned with your priorities. 2. Prioritize your time. Every day, we are faced with a multitude of tasks, some of which are more important than others. Intentionality means knowing what to prioritize. Take time each morning or the night before to decide what the top priorities are. What actions will have the biggest impact on your goals today? Focus your energy on those first. 3. Be mindful of your energy. Your energy is a limited resource, and being intentional with how you use it is key to staying focused and productive. Pay attention to what drains you and what fuels you. Schedule your day to reflect your energy levels. For example, if you're more productive in the morning, tackle your hardest tasks first. Reserve the afternoon for lighter, less demanding tasks. 4. Create boundaries. Living intentionally also involves creating boundaries. In a world full of distractions, it's easy to get pulled in 100 different directions. Set clear boundaries for yourself around your time, energy, and attention. This could mean turning off your phone during work hours, saying no to activities that don't align with your values, or carving out time for self-care. Number 5. Reflect regularly. Intentionality requires constant self-reflection. At the end of each day, take a few minutes to ask yourself, did my actions today align with my goals? Where did I spend my time? Was I intentional about my choices? This daily reflection will help you make adjustments and stay on track toward achieving your goals. Intentionality doesn't just apply to your personal goals, it's also crucial in your relationships. How often do we go through the motions in our interactions with others without truly being present or thoughtful? Living intentionally means being present and engaged in your relationships, whether with family, friends, or colleagues. Take the time to be intentional with the people you care about. Whether it's scheduling quality time with loved ones, offering support to a friend in need, or practicing active listening at work, intentional relationships are what help build deeper connections and create meaningful bonds. The long-term benefits of living intentionally are immense. When you consistently make deliberate choices and align your actions with your goals, you start to see compound results. It's the consistency of intention over time that leads to profound transformation. Intentionality helps you stay focused. Even when obstacles arise, it keeps you grounded in your purpose, so that when challenges come your way, you know exactly how to respond. You don't waste time on things that don't matter. Instead, you keep moving forward, step by step, with clarity and confidence. By living intentionally, you start to create the life you want, rather than reacting to whatever life throws at you. The more you practice this, the more your identity shifts. You begin to see yourself as someone who takes control of their actions, makes wise decisions, and lives with purpose. This self-awareness and confidence are key to long-term success. Living intentionally is the cornerstone of creating a life of fulfillment, clarity, and success. It's about making deliberate choices that align with your goals and values. By being intentional with your time, energy, and relationships, you unlock the power to shape your future. So, take control of your life today. Set clear intentions, stay focused, and watch as your purposeful actions lead you to success. As we approach the final stretch of this journey, let's focus on one of the most critical aspects of personal growth and success: resilience. It's easy to feel inspired when things are going well, when the road ahead is clear and the rewards seem within reach. But what happens when obstacles arise? When setbacks happen? When the path gets tough? Or when you face moments of doubt? Resilience is what keeps you moving forward, even when the world feels like it's working against you. In this section, we'll dive into what resilience really means, how you can build it, and why it's the most important trait for achieving long-term success. We'll explore how to use adversity as fuel for growth, how to bounce back from failure, and how to cultivate a mindset that turns challenges into opportunities. Resilience is the key to overcoming obstacles, maintaining your momentum, and ultimately reaching your goals. Resilience is not just about bouncing back from adversity. It's about growing stronger through the challenges you face. It's the ability to withstand stress, recover from setbacks, and keep going when things get tough. But resilience isn't something you're born with. It's a skill that can be developed over time. At its core, Resilience is about mental toughness, the ability to stay focused, calm, and motivated even when external circumstances are difficult. It's about learning to adapt, to find solutions in the face of challenges, and to maintain your optimism and drive, even when the odds are stacked against you. But resilience is more than just toughness. It's about adaptability and persistence. It's about learning from failure and using it as an opportunity to grow. Instead of seeing challenges as roadblocks, resilient individuals see them as stepping stones that lead to greater success. The foundation of resilience starts with your mindset. A growth mindset is key to building resilience. People with a growth mindset believe that they can improve, learn, and adapt over time. They don't see setbacks as failures, but as opportunities to grow and develop. On the other hand, people with a fixed mindset may view obstacles as insurmountable, causing them to give up more easily. To build resilience, start by shifting your perspective. When faced with a challenge, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this setback to grow stronger? This mindset shift transforms every difficulty into a valuable learning experience. Another important aspect of resilience is emotional resilience. Emotional resilience is the ability to manage your emotions in the face of adversity. It's about staying calm under pressure, managing stress effectively, and not letting negative emotions cloud your judgment. When you encounter challenges, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, frustrated, or discouraged. But emotional resilience allows you to regulate your emotions and respond to challenges with clarity and focus. Instead of reacting impulsively or giving into stress, emotional resilience helps you pause, take a breath, and make thoughtful decisions. One of the best ways to develop emotional resilience is to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness helps you stay present and aware of your thoughts and feelings without letting them take over. It allows you to observe challenges without becoming overwhelmed by them. By practicing mindfulness regularly, you can improve your emotional resilience and build the ability to stay grounded, no matter what comes your way. Resilience isn't just about staying strong during difficult times. It's also about problem solving. Resilient people are excellent problem solvers. They approach challenges with a solution-oriented mindset, asking themselves, what can I do to overcome this? The key is to focus on what you can control and take proactive steps toward finding a solution. Instead of fixating on the problem, resilient individuals focus on what's next. They break down big challenges into smaller to manageable steps and take action, no matter how small. This proactive approach helps you stay focused and makes obstacles feel less overwhelming. One of the most powerful aspects of resilience is the ability to bounce back from failure. Failure is inevitable on the road to success, but it's how you respond to it that determines your ability to succeed. Resilient people don't let failure define them. Instead, they see it as an opportunity to learn, adapt, and try again. To build resilience through failure, reframe the situation. Instead of focusing on the setback, ask yourself, what did I learn from this? What can I do differently next time? Embrace failure as part of the journey rather than something to be avoided. The more you embrace and learn from failure, the more resilient you become. While resilience is an internal strength, it doesn't mean you have to go through challenges alone. Support systems, whether it's friends, family, mentors, or colleagues, are essential for building resilience. Having a strong network of people who encourage you, offer advice, and help you navigate tough times can make a world of difference. When you face difficulties, don't hesitate to reach out to others for support. Whether it's seeking guidance, sharing your frustrations, or just having someone listen. Support systems help you stay grounded and motivated. They remind you that you don't have to face challenges alone. Resilience is built through consistent effort. It's about showing up, day in and day out. Regardless of how you feel or what obstacles you encounter, consistency is key to building the mental toughness needed to face challenges head-on. When you stay consistent with your goals and habits, you develop a sense of strength and resilience that helps you weather any storm. Even when things get tough, remember that small, consistent actions add up. Every step you take towards your goal, no matter how small, reinforces your resilience. Over time, these small actions compound, and you start to realize that no challenge is insurmountable. As long as you stay consistent, you will build the resilience needed to overcome anything life throws at you. While resilience requires mental and emotional strength, it also requires taking care of your physical health. Self-care is essential for maintaining the energy and stamina needed to tackle life's challenges. Whether it's getting enough sleep, eating well, exercising regularly, or taking time for relaxation, self-care is the foundation of resilience. When you prioritize your physical and emotional well-being, you're better equipped to face challenges with clarity and strength. Resilience isn't just about pushing through. It's about nourishing yourself so that you can handle challenges with a clear mind and a steady heart. Resilience isn't something you're born with. It's something you choose to develop. It's about facing adversity with strength, learning from failure, and staying committed to your goals. Even when the road gets tough, by building mental toughness, emotional resilience, and problem-solving skills, you can face any challenge that comes your way. Remember, every obstacle you encounter is an opportunity to grow stronger. The more you practice resilience, the easier it becomes to bounce back from setbacks. Maintain your momentum and stay focused on your long-term vision. So, embrace resilience today. Choose to face life's challenges head-on and use them as stepping stones toward your success. As we conclude this journey, let's bring everything full circle by focusing on action, the most important step in making your dreams and goals a reality. It's easy to get caught in the cycle of planning, thinking, and strategizing, but none of that matters if you don't take action. No matter how clear your vision is or how big your dreams are, they will remain just that, dreams, unless you take consistent, purposeful action to bring them to life. In this final section, we're going to talk about how you can turn your intentions, ideas, and plans into concrete steps that lead to tangible results. We'll explore why action is the key to success, how to break down your big goals into actionable steps, and how to stay motivated and consistent in taking action every day. The truth is, the most successful people aren't the ones with the best ideas. They're the ones who consistently take action to bring those ideas to fruition. Action is the bridge between your vision and your reality. It's the missing piece that connects all your planning and dreaming to real results. You can strategize all you want, but unless you take action, your goals will remain out of reach. Action is the key to turning your dreams into something tangible. Think about all the successful people you admire. Do you think they achieved their goals by just thinking about them or planning them out? No, they took action. Whether it's starting a business, writing a book, or improving their health. They turned their ideas into concrete actions, no matter how small those actions may have seemed at the time. They knew that without action, nothing would change. Taking action doesn't mean you have to make big, bold moves every day. Small, consistent steps matter just as much. Even the tiniest actions, like sending an email, making a phone call, or writing a paragraph, are steps toward progress. The key is to keep moving forward, one step at a time. One of the biggest challenges with setting goals is breaking them down into manageable tasks. It's easy to feel overwhelmed when you look at the bigger picture. But the truth is, big goals are only achieved by taking small, deliberate steps. Here's how to break down big goals into actionable steps. 1. Clarify your big goal. The first step is to get really clear on what you want to achieve. What's your ultimate goal? Is it to launch a business, write a book, improve your fitness? Whatever it is, get clear on what success looks like for you. Be as specific as possible. 2. Break it down into smaller goals. Once you have your big goal, break it down into smaller, bite-sized goals. For example, if your goal is to launch a business, your smaller goals might include writing a business plan, finding funding, creating a website, and marketing your product. If your goal is to write a book, your smaller goals might include outlining chapters, writing 500 words a day, and editing your drafts. 3. Create actionable tasks. Once you have your smaller goals, break them down even further into specific tasks. What can you do today to move closer to achieving each smaller goal? Actionable tasks should be simple and doable. For example, instead of saying, "Work on my book," you might set a specific task like, "Write 500 words today." 4. Set a timeline. Now that you have your tasks, set deadlines for them. Create a timeline for when you want to accomplish each task and goal. Deadlines create a sense of urgency and help keep you on track. They also allow you to celebrate your progress when you hit each milestone. While taking action is important, consistency is the real key to success. It's not enough to take action once and hope for the best. You need to take action every day. Consistency builds momentum, and momentum is what keeps you going when things get tough. By showing up every day and doing the work, even on days when you don't feel motivated, you're building the habit of success. Over time, your consistent actions will compound, and before you know it, you'll have made significant progress toward your goal. Remember, success doesn't happen overnight. It happens through the daily consistent efforts that you put in. Even when progress feels slow or invisible, the key is to keep showing up. Every day that you take action, no matter how small, brings you one step closer to your goal. One of the biggest challenges to taking consistent action is maintaining motivation. It's easy to feel fired up when you start something new. But as time passes, motivation can wane. So, how do you stay motivated and keep taking action, especially when the excitement starts to fade? 1. Remember your why. Your why is the reason you're working toward your goal in the first place. Whether it's financial freedom, a healthier lifestyle, or a sense of personal achievement, your why is what will keep you going when times get tough. Revisit your why regularly, especially when motivation dips, and remind yourself why you're doing this in the first place. 2. Track your progress. Tracking. Your progress can be a huge motivator. When you see how far you've come, it reinforces your commitment to keep going. Even small victories are worth celebrating. By tracking your actions and the results they produce, you'll see the progress you're making, which can fuel your motivation to continue. 3. Celebrate small wins. It's important to celebrate your progress, no matter how small. Every step forward is a win. Celebrating these small victories helps build momentum and reinforces the habit of action. Whether it's rewarding yourself with a treat or simply taking a moment to acknowledge your hard work, celebrations remind you that your efforts are paying off. 4. Build accountability. Sometimes having someone to hold you accountable can be the motivation you need to keep going. Whether it's a mentor, a friend, or a colleague, sharing your goals with someone who will check in on your progress can push you to take action, even when you don't feel like it. Accountability partners help you stay committed and keep you on track. No matter how committed you are to your goals, there will always be days when resistance shows up. You'll feel tired, unmotivated, or distracted. But here's the secret. Take action anyway. Resistance is a natural part of the process, and it doesn't mean you should quit. It means you're on the verge of growth. When you feel resistance, push through it. Even if it's just for a few minutes, take a small action. Once you start, it's easier to keep going. The key is to start, no matter how small the step. Once you take action, you'll often find that the resistance dissipates, and you gain momentum to keep going. Taking action is the foundation of all success. Without action, your goals remain just dreams. But when you take consistent, purposeful action, you create the life you want. Action is what transforms ideas into reality and turns visions into accomplishments. So, stop waiting for the perfect time. Start today. Break down your big goals into small, actionable steps. Stay consistent, track your progress, and keep moving forward. Even when things get tough, remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about taking consistent action. Every single day, by committing to action, you're committing to your future. Your dreams are within reach, but only if you take the steps to make them a reality. So, take that first step today and then keep going, one action at a time.